What's going on, Jeromes? We're back, Daily Jeromes, the live stream, starting a couple minutes early. We got some ish to do today, but thanks for coming along. Monday through Thursday, 11 a.m. ish Central Time. A bunch of Q&A, so let's dive right on in. First one's from Abi Asuji. If the Vikings get a veteran cornerback, what do you think we do with Mike Hughes because we want Dancer, Gladney, and Hand to play? I think the usage of Mike Hughes as a return specialist, that's really enticing to me. I don't think they'll get rid of him. They will save like a negligible amount on the cap, but he is on his rookie deal. Not going to pick up his fifth-year option. But, I mean, health concerns, that's major. I don't know if he'll be back 100% next year. Rich Rasmussen. A head coach stepping down or getting fired, then being on new coach's staff, to your knowledge, has that ever happened? Well, I know it's a popular notion of, well, just demote Zimmer to defensive coordinator, then hire a head coach. It would never happen. But it has happened where guys have come back. So Wade Phillips was the Broncos head coach, I believe, because it was Dan Reeves, and then I think it was son of Bum, Wade Phillips, and then it was Mike Shanahan. And then Wade Phillips obviously came back later as defense coordinator for Gary Kubak's Super Bowl winning team. And also Dave Campo. I think Dave Campo was the one who replaced Barry Switzer for the Cowboys back in the day. And then eventually he came back as defensive backs coach, I believe, on Bill Parcells' staff. So that's why it doesn't happen. It's very rare. But directly stepping down, I don't think that will ever happen. Manny Flissick. Another thing, can you tell me what the hell happened to Hughes and what his future with the team? Oh, I already covered that. Well, he got hurt, and he was bad. Then he got demoted. Miles. We should all make alternate accounts and just poop on Kirk to get him pissed off. Athletes always say, oh, well, we never pay attention to the media or fans. Baloney. It's human nature. It is really hard to tune it out. A lot of athletes do have rabbit ears. I think Kirk is definitely one of those as well. Pulford Skull. If Steelers don't resign or tag Juju, would it be worth it as a wide receiver 3 for the right price? I think Juju is going to get massively overpaid. You look at the Raiders, you look at the Jets. Juju is going to get overpaid. And he's not a wide receiver 1. Like, he made his most hay when he was paired up with Antonio Brown. And even with the Steelers this year, like, his production with Deontay Johnson stepping up, and Chase Claypool really coming in. So it won't be, the juice won't be worth the squeeze, if that makes sense. George St. Baptiste. I think it's crazy to think, am I crazy to think Blake Bortles would be an amazing fit with the Vikings? When I look at a run first heavy style offense, I would do it just for the LOLs. And even though Blake Bortles, given Bortles' size, like, he doesn't have the strongest arm in the world, and he's not necessarily that accurate, and he doesn't really make good decisions with the football, but he's funny. I mean, just for the memes, I would bring him in. Laces out, Dan. My boss is a Steelers fan, and I want to hear your take on his steel curtain rebuild. He has them signing J.J. Watt, switching to a 4-3, and J.J. and T.J. coming off the edges. Cam Hayward and Tuitt in the middle. They get Parsons and Koromora to pair with Dupree. Well, I don't know if they're going to retain Dupree, because Bud Dupree was on a franchise tag last year, then he tore his ACL. He's probably going to leave because the Steelers are in a little bit of cap trouble, especially with Big Ben's contract. Even if he retires, they have to carry quite a bit dead. So I don't think they bring back Dupree. I don't think they switch to a 4-3 necessarily either, mainly because of Hayward and Tuitt are so well situated for that 3-4. And, of course, T.J. Watt just being a great stand-up 3-4 outside linebacker. But, yeah, if they do sign J.J., which I think they have the inside track to do, except for the Packers, they certainly won't be the steel curtain of old, but keep a Minka in there. And if they actually decently draft some cornerbacks and signing Hayden now, they actually might have to cut Joe Hayden. Also, I don't think DJ Hayden and Joe Hayden are brothers, because it's different spelling. But yeah, they might have to cut Joe Hayden. They're probably going to have to cut David DeCastro. Villanueva's going to walk. So, I mean, even if the defense stays solid or even gets better, if they bring in JJ and draft decently, that offense is going to be bad. That offense is going to be really, really bad. LB, Has everyone given up on Mike Hughes because of what's all the Mike Hughes questions? No, I still have faith. Keep school alive. Vikings Nation. Who starts at safety next to Hitman? Anthony Harris back in our franchise? No. Rookie TBD. I think it's either rookie TBD if they get a guy like Richie Grant or Javon Holland or Gillespie or Tariq Thompson. I really like too. Caden Stearns, Paris Ford. And there's a lot of safeties that you can get day 2 that would start day 1 for the Vikings, confusingly. Metellus might have a shot. Even though I like Metellus, he's a jack of all trades, master of none. Like, he isn't perfectly suited for a free safety role or a box safety role. Kind of all-purpose guy. I do think that if they have enough cornerback depth, the notion of moving Chris Boyd or Harrison Hand to safety would be really intriguing to me. Patrick Harms, how logical is signing Geno Atkins? We all know Zimmer is already salivating over the thought. Is there still some tank left in the gas? Blah, blah, blah. So the Bengals are probably going to cut him. I think he's due like $9 or $9.5 million. None of it guaranteed, so they can let him go. He's certainly not the Geno Atkins of old, but if you're just trying to get one last puff out of a cigar, I think Geno could bring that to the table, play some 3-tag. It would definitely reduce his snaps. Maybe he'll play 300 snaps in a season. Well, I guess that would go up because there's 17 games, so maybe like 350 snaps somewhere in there. I think that if you can get him cheap, I think you certainly can. It would be an intriguing signing. Stanley Morris. Could you see Peyton or Eli ever becoming head coaches? Maybe even Brady once he retires? No. I could see Peyton becoming a GM or in like the John Elway type role. Brady, nah, I think Brady's just going to hit the beach with a supermodel wife. Probably build out the TB12 brand. I think Eli's just retired. I don't see any of them ever becoming head coaches because you very rarely see, we've talked about this before, you rarely ever see superstar players, not saying that Eli's a superstar, become head coaches because a lot of it is, even though, yes, Peyton and Brady and Eli definitely put in the work, they're definitely knowledgeable. Sometimes that communication of what is out there, the principals seeing this and seeing that, it doesn't translate. Like when Peyton was up on blocks in 2011 with his neck issue, like, yeah, he was talking to Orlovsky and Curtis Painter about what to do, but they didn't do it. Yeah, part of that is the talent level of both those two jabronis, but maybe some of it is, Peyton just has this innate ability that sometimes cannot be explained. Like Michael Jordan would have been a piss poor head coach. Magic Johnson was a piss poor head coach, right? There's some things that can't be explained. That's why across the board, whether it's hockey, sometimes like backup goalies, make some good head coaches. Same thing with soccer. It's not really the stars; it's usually the role players. Baseball, your relief pitchers or catchers generally, or first baseman generally make pretty good managers. And then in basketball, it's usually journeyman guys. And same thing with football. Like backup quarterbacks are really where it's at when it comes to head coaches. Because you look at, let's go through. So Doug Peterson was Brett Favre's backup, even though he doesn't have a job. Andy Reid was a tight end at BYU. Actually, let's go through. Let's go through a list. Let's see. Wiki. List of current National Football League head coaches. So Cliff Kingsbury, back in the day, was quarterback at Texas Tech and was Tom Brady's backup quarterback. Arthur Smith played guard at North Carolina. From North Carolina. John Harbaugh, I believe, played some college ball. Jim Harbaugh was, sort of a journeyman, like borderline starter for a number of years. Sean McDermott, I believe he played college ball. Did he play a ball at William & Mary? I feel like everyone played at Bill & Mary. Hey, he played at Bill & Mary. Nailed it. Let's see here. Matt Nagy was a backup quarterback. Matt Rule, I believe, played offensive line in college. Zach Taylor played some college ball. Did he play in the NFL? I don't think he did. Oh, he did? Well, he got a cup of coffee with the Bucks. Yeah, because he was at Nebraska. That's right. Stefanski was a safety at Penn. Mike McCarthy, I don't think Mike McCarthy played. Vic Fangio played? Yeah. Let's see. As a coach on the crew. He also played safety at Penn. I know he played safety in high school. Oh, he played in the USFL. No, he didn't. I can't read. Vic Fangio did not play. Dan Campbell was a journeyman backup tight end for a number of years. LaFleur played. David Culley might have. Frank Reich was obviously Jim Kelly's backup for a number of years. Led amazing miracle comebacks, not only in Buffalo, but also at Maryland. It's actually kind of funny. Urban Meyer, I don't know if he played. It's possible. John Gruden was high school quarterback. Brandon Staley, I don't know. Sean McVay played. God, what did he play? He played in college, I believe. Yeah, he played at Miami, Ohio. Ooh, he did not have a catch. How McVay? Let's see. Zimmer was a linebacker quarterback at Illinois State. Go Redbirds. Flores played. I'm pretty sure he did. Let's see. Flores played at Boston College. Yeah, linebacker at BC. There you go. Let's see. Zimmer. Belichick played at Amherst. Something like that. So Sean Payton was a scab quarterback in 1987 during the strike for the Bears. Also played at Eastern Illinois. That's how they had the inside track on Tony Romo because they're both Eastern Illinois alums. That's how he got to Dallas when Sean Payton was the OC. Joe Judge, I believe, played back in the day. Robert Saleh, I think, played. Sirianni, I don't know. Mike Tomlin was a defensive back of Bill and Mary. Or was he a receiver? One of the two. Either way, he played. Another Bill and Mary alum. It is the... William and Mary and Miami, Ohio are the womb of coaches. It's funny. Kyle Shanahan, I believe, played at Texas A&M. I don't know. Pete Carroll was like a DB at Pacific or something. Bruce Arians. This is my favorite one. Bruce Arians has the single season rushing touchdown record for Virginia Tech quarterbacks. Because they ran the option. So Bruce Arians had more rushing touchdowns this season than Michael Vick and Tyrod and Marcus Vick. It's kind of fun. Oh, and Logan Thomas. Mike Vrabel might be the most successful player turned NFL head coach because linebacker for the Steelers, the Patriots, and then the Chiefs. Multiple Super Bowl winner. Ron Rivera was a linebacker on the 85 Bears. So there you go. Yeah, but no superstars. Like there's no Dan Marino or Jim Kelly or Peyton Manning as a head coach right now. You just don't see it. It's kind of an anomaly. Next up, Abza Abdi. What meals would best describe the Vikings offseason the Vikings will go through this year? Well, given free agency, I'll compare it. So we had a buddy who we went to college with, and he moved out to San Francisco, and he moved out there right after college, so he definitely wasn't rolling in the dough at the time. But he said that the way to survive was 6 days a week, Sunday through Friday. You scrimp and save, you eat at home, you live as cheaply as possible. Basically live like you're back in college. And then one night a week on Saturday, just go balls out. That's how you survive in a pretty damn expensive town like San Francisco. So that's what the Vikings are going to be. So they're going to scrimp and save every single nickel against the cap, and then they're going to blow it all on Joe Thuney. Let's go. Sam McMullen, younger Vikings fan here. How good was Randall Cunningham on the Vikings? So Randall Cunningham was a lot of fun because everyone remembers Eagles Randall Cunningham, where he really was that first true dual threat quarterback, where amazing athlete, dynamic runner, was always dangerous. And people forget that Randall Cunningham had an amazing arm. Dude had a friggin' whip. The pride of UNLV could chuck it a country mile and be accurate on the run, but everyone forgot about how good his arm was because of how good of an athlete he was. Now, when the Vikings got him, he had been out of football, famously had been installing granite countertops and working as a preacher in his church. But so as he got older, that athletic ability diminished. You don't really remember Randall Cunningham running too much on the 98 Vikings, but that arm was still there, man. The arm was still there. It was still a rocket, baby. And yeah, just dropping down. Because the big complaint about Randy Moss early on is that no quarterback could overthrow him. So that's why they brought in Randall Cunningham. That's why they brought in Jeff George. Just dudes with cannons, bazookas, howitzers. Just getting it. Other metaphor for arm strength. Inej Kadunk. What do you think? Ravens get Thielen. Vikings get Orlando Brown at first this year. You know, we talked about we would never trade Adam Thielen, but I would trade him in this spot. I don't think the Ravens would do it, but damn, that would be tempting. I don't think DaCosta would trade for a 30-year-old wide receiver on a pretty decently sized contract. I don't think he would do that, but if that was presented, yes. Miles. I'm more excited for free agency. Call me crazy, but the prospect of getting Joe Thuney or Len Williams is exciting. It is pretty damn exciting. Plus, with the cap situation the way it is going to limit the field more than it would in a normal season. But, the Vikings can free up cap space to make a run, but it's going to be hard to compete. Like, say the Colts really want Leonard Williams or Joe Thuney, or the Browns or the Bengals or the Jets or, other teams that have a lot of cap space. It's going to be tough, but hopefully they'll be like, hey, the Vikings are just one step away, especially if you're Joe Thuney. I can just slide into that left guard spot day one. Woo! Tomahawk 10, whatever happened to the Green Bay Tears Cups? Are you ever going to restock them? They should be in stock because, we don't hold stock. I mean, it's done by Teespring, so they should be good to go. Let us know where you're watching from and give a couple shout-outs. Time. If we sign Leonard Williams, which low-value guard would you want the Vikings to sign, and which offensive lineman do we draft? Let's see, low value. Well, can't really get much lower than Nick Easton. I think he signs for the veteran minimum somewhere. In terms of, what would be low value? Because Austin Blythe from the Rams would be decent amount of change, but not like breaking the. We're talking about like $4 or $5 million a year. John Feliciano from the Bills, I would really be in on. So yeah, if they count for low value, I'd be in. Elijah Alsop, best possible Vikings free agent and draft. Not something you think will happen, but the best possible with our position. Best possible. Well, sign Joe Thuney. Draft Christian Darrisaw at 14. Cut Reef, or hell, trade Reef for 2022 fifth rounder. And then what else? Trade up into the top of the second round. Just package a number of the third and fourth and get Christian Barrymore if he falls out of the first round, or Davion Nixon or Lee McNeil. Edge rusher, get a guy like Chris Rumpf or Malcolm Kuntz day 3. Cornerback, do like Ambry Thomas a little bit later on. Safety. All right, so no trade up for Barmore. So you take a Lee McNeil in the third round, and then also you maneuver, get Richie Grant. He might go second round. So get Richie Grant from Central Florida. Get Tyree Gillespie as that third safety as well. Wide receiver. Let's see who's going to be there. Shi Smith from South Carolina. I would like him. Cade Johnson from South Dakota State. He's really growing on me. And that's it. Perfect. Win Super Bowl. Next up. W Vang 0013, $5 in the super chat. What will the cap be in 2021? It's highly variant. It's either going to be 175 to 185, somewhere in there. And it's not going to be officially announced for. They haven't really given a specific date. Sign a vet tackle like Okuna, move Reef inside the guard. Well, Russell didn't want to be here last time. I don't know if the weather will actually convince him this time around. Also, who takes over safety if Harris leaves? Aloka? Nah, probably not Aloka. They're probably going to let him go too. Metellus or rookie TBD? Probably going to be the betting favorites. A couple shout-outs. Purple Rain Skull from Wausau, Wisconsin. Nick Kuzis Skull from Fargo. Please draft Lance Cox at Red Uns. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Cox is NDSU, isn't he? Mike Benham, Grand Rapids, what up? Pulford Skull, Nashville. They got some ice. Is what it is. Learn how to drive on ice. You'll be fine. All right. Thanks a lot for coming along, guys. You're the best. Next up, Joshua Dubois. So based on the Vikings opponents next year, what do you think the Vikings record will be? 17-0. Eli Polanis. I think the Vikings should target Christian Uphoff. He's a safety from Iowa State and got voted safety of the practice week at Senior Bowl. It's a very good upside with like the 6th or 7th round pick. I don't know if he'll go that late, but he certainly is on the radar. Peter Kopp. If the Vikings don't draft a quarterback in this draft to learn our cousins, who are some of your favorite quarterback prospects in 2022? Desmond Ridder. I like Desmond Ridder. I like Sam Howell. I think, well, it's a possibility that like guys like Howell and Rattler and Kedden will be out of range for the Vikings since they're probably going to go extremely high next year's draft. So, love me some Desmond Ridder. Hell, Desmond Ridder might be the number 1 overall pick next year, too, if he has another phenomenal season. I always like Derek King, and I know that people write him off because he's like a sawed-off shotgun. He's 6 feet and under, but his athletic ability, plus there's just a number of games for Miami this year where he just put the team on his back, and he had a comeback. And he played phenomenally. Like, I love that grit. It is the it factor. Not all quarterbacks have it. Derek King does have it. He does. Let's see. Jason Gelke, Lester Perry, Minnesota. What's up? Mick Houlihan, score from Ireland, Bagarla. That's right. Man, it's almost St. Paddy's Day. It's like a month away. Shoot. So I've always liked St. Paddy's Day in terms of holidays. I mean, beyond the whole getting after it and enjoying yourself. But so usually the NCAA tournament syncs up with St. Paddy's Day, and plus the weather starts warming up here in Minnesota, so it's a nice cacophony of good things all together. Let's see. Brody Richards, go from Asheville, North Carolina. What up? Next up is Elijah Alsop. So while I was doing a mock free agency, Mackenzie Alexander was available. Well, he only signed a 1-year, $4 million deal with the Bengals, so he is going to be a free agent again. Now, Mac left on not great terms. Kind of had bad feelings all the way around, but I would like to have him back. Stanley Morris. What do you think about Tanga Flyer and Carl Lawson? Young has some upside change and senior could benefit. 1-year deal, relatively cheap. For this cap-killed year, you could raise value. Yeah, nah. Bayani Catalan. If Zimmer sorts the defense and we don't need 30, 35 points a game, does he revert to his natural conservative approach? Got the weapons. Will Zimmer let Kubiak Jr. use them all? Well, Zimmer doesn't necessarily have veto power, but he has, well, he should run the ball more, right? And I don't think he's going to turn down 30 or 35 points a game. Like, if and when the offense just marches down the field every single time, 75 yards for a touchdown, Dalvin, Jefferson, Dalvin, Thielen, Dalvin, Irv, Jefferson. Zimmer's not going to turn down points. Yeah, he'll just have to live with it. His defense will have to be out there a little bit sooner, and they'll be fine. Jens Harold Claudius. Do you think the way the Vikings organization set up, run, etc., that the Vikings can win a Super Bowl within the next decade? Yeesh. And if they don't, they're dopes. I mean, it hasn't happened yet. Bad luck. Zimmer. Yeah. Kyle Rippetrop. Pros and cons of a 3-4 and 4-3 defense. Well, pros. So the 4-3 invented by Tom Landry back in the day allow for gap responsibility, and yeah, every single guy had his gap, and also when they had the 4-3 flex, it threw the blocking schemes of the offensive line off because you had a guy like half a yard off the line of scrimmage, and it's just so crazy how just small things like that can throw a wrench of things. Now the 3-4. It does allow you to get more dynamic athletes on the field, especially at that linebacker position where you have guys, and in the 3-4, you can take more tweeners, like 3-4 defensive ends, the 5 techs, where if you put them in a 4-3, they're not necessarily 3 techs, they're not necessarily edge rushers, they're sort of in between, but you can utilize that stoutness and hold up against the run. Now, the key is you do need that nose tackle that eats pieces of poop like you for breakfast, a guy that can absorb 2-3 bodies and maintain 2 gaps. You need that in the middle. Michael Pierce could be that guy. He is that guy. Hell. And I think that the Vikings, well, the base defense is by way of the dodo, like nickel is the new base defense. But if the Vikings want to implement more of a 3-3 nickel defense, especially if they do hang on to a guy like Wilson or a guy like Troy Dye to step up, or hell, so say the Vikings let Wilson walk and then they have Anthony Barr back at a pay cut and then Micah Parsons somehow falls to 14. Like, how do you not have all three of those guys on the field in passing downs in nickel? So 3-3-4 or 3-3 nickel, then get after it. 3-3-5. Yeah. Where opinions on South Dakota State's K. Johnson? I'm certainly warming up to him. So he had a decent Senior Bowl week, but in terms of just a smaller receiver, got speed for days, awesome in the return game. I mean, those guys are sort of like a dime a dozen in this draft. So there isn't necessarily anything that K. Johnson does that really differentiates him from Dwayne Eskridge, from Jalen Darden, from Marcus Stevenson, from Shi Smith, etc. But that's a good thing. Like, that's a good thing. It's almost a problem of there's too many sub 6 foot, super fast, amazing, dynamic wide receivers in this draft. So that could depress some of the value since there is such a big supply of them. But if you get K. Johnson day 3, fine with it. Chris Danny Hansen, Daz Newsome, woo. What do you think is harder? Kadarius Toney, Rondale Moore, woo. What do you think is harder, playing football in the extreme heat or cold? Heat. Definitely heat, because you can warm up in cold. Right? So playing, we'll add some body heat, and plus you can heat up the sidelines. You can wear layers. You can be by the heaters. You can do all that stuff. I mean, if it's hot and humid, like if you're playing a week 1 game in Florida and you're the Raiders and the Dolphins made you, the Dolphins took the white home jersey, so you have to wear the black. Yeah, it's tough. Like, it is tough to cool down. Cody Sandstrom. I think the Vikings are pretty set on offense. Maybe they move Rudolph and a pick to the Pats for Gilmore, just hypothetical. I don't think the Pats are going to trade for Rudolph at this stage. I think that ship has sailed. Ezekiel Lockhart, number 3. Saw a Sports Illustrated article that said this. Jets get Russell, Jimmy G to see. Niners get Deshaun. Now, the Seahawks will not take part in a trade that gets the Niners Deshaun. That's not going to happen. Plus, they know Jimmy G. They play him twice a year. They know he's ass. They're not giving up Russ for Jimmy and a 2nd and a 5th. No. Houston gets Darnold. No. Seattle would not go for this. Even as dumb as Schneider's drafts have been, he's not doing this. No. Astro Zeo Sports. Your thoughts? Leonard Williams, Barmore, Pearson, Hunter. Super Bowl? If we draft J.C. Horn, will our defense be top 5 next season? Well, is it with that defensive line? Then yes. But if J.C. Horn just at 14, so no Barmore, no. But it's close. But I think it will be top 10 even without J.C. Horn. Michael Merchant Robbles. Would you be okay if Felipe Franks become the starter of the future for the Vikings? It's a big bet. Like, I do like Felipe Franks, Arkansas quarterback by way of Florida. He would have to develop a lot. Like, he does have some tools. You do like the size. You do like the arm strength. Leadership is there. Accuracy is pretty decent at times. But am I willing to wager that he's going to start within 3 years? No. But would I like picking him up day 3? Like, if you miss out on Mond and Jamie Newman, sure. D. Taylor. What is one take that you've had you wish you could take back the most, Jefferson? Well, I wish we had more context on the Jefferson one, because we kept saying that we like Jefferson, just not with the Vikings because of the redundancy of the skills of him and Thielen. Now, little did we know that LSU was really the one keeping a governor on Justin Jefferson. It's like how Dean Smith was the only person to hold Michael Jordan under 30 points a game. Yeah, we'll take an L on that one. But it's one of those, oh no, we're so wrong that the all-pro wide receiver is on our team. It's so sad. Hunter Williams. Skull from Savage, Minnesota. Love your channel. Hey, thank you. I think you're an awesome guy. Thank you. It's a little bit too much. Thanks. Do you see us getting Geno Atkins, or would it be spending? No, I think Geno Atkins is going to be at or near the league minimum. Like, he's not going to get much, but yeah. Madden Mobile Sandsdom. As a Patriots fan, Vikings are a team I like only because of Justin freaking Jefferson. Also, your channel is freaking entertaining with your mock drafts. I'm funny. Thanks. Hey, thank you. Thanks for coming along. Ezekiel Lockhart, number one. Oh, I get it. These were out of order. Number one. What are your thoughts on retiring numbers from being worn in sports? I don't like it. I think what you should do is take numbers out of circulation, but not like officially retiring them. And also, like, use a couple of the numbers as like a ceremonial number, like the Cowboys do with number 88 for receivers, or USC number 55 linebackers, or LSU number 7 on defense, or was it Oklahoma 44 on defense, I want to say, or Alabama number 12 for quarterbacks. Yeah, like, use it as a ceremonial, because if you keep retiring numbers, eventually, if your league survives for hundreds of years, you're going to run out of numbers. You will. There's debate on whether or not to retire Miko Koivu's number 9. I don't know enough about hockey. I know that he was a captain. I know that he was a stud. But wasn't 9 also Mike Modano? So, yeah. Number 2, best Minnesota-born and raised athlete. My personal opinion is either Parisi, Thielen, special nod to Brock Bozer and Joe Mauer. I assume the Bozer is a hockey player, right? I might enter Brock Lesnar, even though I know that he was born and raised in South Dakota. He went to school at the University of Minnesota, so we kind of claim him. Plus, I'm pretty sure he grew up in the part of South Dakota that's really close to Minnesota. Sure. Brock Lesnar. So Webster, South Dakota, where you at? Yeah, I mean, so it is in the part of South Dakota that's extremely close to the Minnesota border. So we claim them. We do. I mean, yeah, well, hold on. Webster. That might be Brock Lesnar's house. Yeah, 100%. Like, they would make trips to Minnesota. They would. Yeah. But taking him off the table, I guess I'd have to go, even though I like Parisi. I really like Thielen. I think you'd have to go Joe Mauer, because Mauer is a borderline Hall of Famer. The rest of the guys probably no. Well, would you go Dave Winfield? Yeah, you might go Dave Winfield, because he was, what was it, three sport athlete at the U? Did he play football? He might have. Then had a great baseball career. Except, was he born here? I know he just went to the University of Minnesota. I guess it doesn't matter. But yeah, Joe Mauer would be. I'll pick Joe Mauer. Stanley Morris. You should do. Well, now I gotta look. Dave. Yeah, he was born in St. Paul. Nailed it. There you go. Or you could say Bud Grant, even though I think that he was technically born and raised in Superior, Wisconsin, which is the good part of Wisconsin because it's really close to Duluth. Because Bud Grant won a championship with the Lakers, and then he played in the NFL, which is so crazy. Anyway, you should post a way too early most accurate power rankings in the universe video. We should. Yeah, I saw that. Was it PFF had power rankings out? We should. Stanley Morris, decent, cheap veteran cornerback, not named Patrick Peterson. I like Breland. Plays a lot of man in Kansas City. Gets beat. Like, if you're not going to pay up, mono casual. If we sign a Thuney, Scherf in free agency, who would you most like to fall to 14? Yeah, I'm starting to dig the idea of, even if you do sign one of the badass guards in free agency, just take Darrisaw if he's there, and then cut or trade Riley Reef. But going a different direction, Parsons at 14 is really growing on me. I would take Barmore, I'm not overly thrilled about it. Oh, Waddle. Imagine if Waddle gets a 14. Or Kyle Pitts. That would be gross. Kyle Nelson. With the new league year cap hit, which NFL free agent do you think will become the most surprising cap casualty for their team? Well, not a cap casualty in the traditional sense, but I think the Saints will have to let Ryan Ramczyk walk, where he's an all-world right tackle. I think that he will hit free agency, which is just crazy. It's just crazy, man. Chris Danny Hansen. What Viking, other than that, David DeCastro. Even though DeCastro has been, he was an all-pro last year, except that was definitely reputation because he's not the David DeCastro of yesteryear. But the Pride of Stanford still has some good football in him. But I think he's due like $14 million next year. And I think the Steelers might have to cut him. Chris Danny, what Vikings will land the NFL's top 100 next year and where? So Daniil would be in the 70s. It's one of those out of sight, out of mind things. I think Kirk Cousins will be in the 80s. I think Dalvin will be in at 40. I think Harrison will get snubbed. I think Kendricks will be in at like 70. Jefferson will get in at 80. Start him a little bit low because it's the players who vote. So there's always a little bit of shade and jealousy at the young guys coming in. I don't know. Maybe Brian O'Neill gets into like the 90s. Probably about it. Yeah, that's it. Sure. Spartus Jax, Andy. I'm sure you've seen the news that came out about Panthers were willing to trade for Stafford, so any chance you do a mock draft where Kirk goes to Panthers exchange for Teddy? Yeah, we could do that. I don't know if the Vikings want Teddy back, though, especially on his contract. John Anderson TV. If we actually don't re-sign Mannion, who do you think will be our backup quarterback in 2021? Rookie TBD? Jamie Newman, no matter what? Go for audio greatness. Rather than have the Vikings sign Leonard Williams, would you rather have the Vikings sign Leonard Williams or Joe Thuney? Thuney. Yeah. Mainly because of the composition of the defensive tackle class where you can get really good value. Well, you can get good interior offensive line value in the middle rounds of this draft, but the 3-tech, I mean, there's going to be some sexy-ass dudes who fall out of day 2. Like Aleem McNeil. Onwuzurike won't fall that far. Well, he shouldn't. But Darius Stills, Marvin Wilson, Twyman. There's going to be some really big value. Late round 3, early round 4. Elijah Alsop. What would a Hunter contract do to the cap? Well, he's already under contract, so barring them tearing up the deal, if there's an extension, the only thing that would count against the 2021 cap would be the proration of the signing bonus. So say that he has like a 2-year extension and you're able to spread out signing bonus over a maximum of 5 years. So if they gave him a 2-year extension, that would be 5 years total because he's got 3 years left on his deal. So it would be whatever the signing bonus is divided by 5. So just for ease of math, let's say it's a $20 million a $10 million signing bonus. It's going to be larger than that, but just for ease of math, divide that by 5, add $2 million to his 2021 cap hit, and that's it. Now, they could do a spot where they have that extension, but also they restructure his base salary in 2021, which that could actually theoretically lower his 2021 cap liability, but that's down the road. Titchy Games. Will Dalvin Cook get re-injured in 2021? That's negative thinking. Gemini Mike, have Prime AP back on the Vikings or Prime Moss? Moss. 1,000% Moss, because you got Dalvin, man. Bennett Durham. What would you say is the Vikings' all-time team? Quarterback, Kirk Cousins. No. Quarterback, I guess Tarkenton. I'm not the biggest Tarkenton guy. Running back, Adrian. Fullback. Does Bill Brown count as a fullback? I guess Bill Boom Boom Brown. Wide receiver, Moss and Carter. Well, you go 3 wide. Moss, Carter, Thielen. Tight end, toss-up between Steve Jordan and Rudy. Respect. Left tackle, Ranieri. Left guard. Well, now you have to do just guards. So guards, Hutchinson and McDaniel. Center, Tingelhoff. Right tackle. Actually, you'd have to do tackles. So then you'd have Gary Zimmerman and Ranieri. Yeah, that makes sense. Defensive ends, Marshall and Dolman. Defensive tackles. Well, you'll have to do a 3-man weave between Eller, Page, John Randall. Or if you broke it down to nose tackle, then it'd be Hammer and Hank, Henry Thomas. Linebackers, Matt Blair, Kendricks, Studwell. God, Studwell is so freaking good. I mean, he might have the record for most 20 tackle games. Like, legit. Cornerbacks, Winfield. As depressing as it is, you might have to say Xavier. Or maybe Corey Fuller. Safety, Harrison and Paul Krause. 22-22. Harrison, Krause, and Browner. It's really close. Kicker, Fred Cox. Punter, I don't know, Greg Coleman, I guess, by legacy. Sure. Head coach, Bud Grant. Let's hear. Stanley Morrows, how's the snow been in Minnesota? It's been too cold to snow, so we've been fine. And actually, I did a thing where I decided for extra exercise during the pandemic, I would leave the snowblower in the shed, and then we just shovel, and it's been fine. Well, there was one time like a month ago where it wasn't very good. It was a dumb idea. Ready to bust that thing out again, but no. Let's see. Pennsylvania's been hammered over the last month. 5 nor'easters. Get another day. Yeah, that sucks. But yeah, it's like negative 30 right now. George St. Baptiste, if Christian Ponder would have had Pat Shermer or Stefanski as OC instead of Musgrave to work in the first couple of years in Twin Cities, been able to. I think more than just OC, if he was able to sit for a couple of years, that would have been the magic. That would have been the key. Like if McNabb had been less garbage and Ponder had been able to sit 2011, maybe even 2012, then he would have had a much better shot. I mean, Christian Ponder's only 30. Christian Ponder still should be a backup quarterback somewhere in the league, but he just got shell-shocked during his time here in Minnesota. Miles, what will the Vikings' funnest and most boring game be next year? Most boring will be Seattle, and the funnest will be at Lambeau when the Vikings put up 50 on their asses. Nusrad G. Keep an eye on the Afadi trade. DJ will have a breakout year if Pierce proper number 7. Well, they have to RFA tag him first and then trade him, or another team sign him to offer sheet. Stanley Morris, I don't know the left defensive tackle like big cat walking free agency. They traded a second. Letting Leonard Williams walk. Well, they're going to get something decent in terms of a comp pick, probably just a third. More than 30 year sheriff. Manny Flissick. Should Vikings try to sign Gerald McCoy or Snacks Harrison to solidify defensive tackle? Well, they could have signed Snacks Harrison several times last year, so maybe he's just not vibing with Minnesota, which is fine. McCoy doesn't have much left. Like him, Carolina last year was non-existent. So, no. Griffin Creer, Barmore or Pay at 14? Pay. Joshua Delory. Do you think we will try to cut or not re-sign Rudolph? Try to cut Rudy. Yes. Max McElroy, Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad? Breaking Bad because I don't watch Game of Thrones. The wife was really into Game of Thrones. I just never could really do it. Ben Bauman, will there be another Four Loco challenge? When we hit 100K, can we hit 100K by the end of 2021? It's bold. Abza Abdi, predict which team will tank in 2021. The Jaguars again. No, the Bears. I think the Bears will be out of it by week 4. I think Matt Nagy will be fired and Ryan Pace will be fired as well. And then the Hallises just steer that thing straight into the ground. Try and get Spencer Rattler. Ira Coffin, best restaurant in Minnesota or in Minneapolis. Well, snap answer would have been Bachelor Farmer, but RIP. I'm pretty old school when it comes to restaurants, like, you know, the new age fusion, blah, 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 just sort of whatever. But so just give me a really good steakhouse every time. So Manny's and Murray's, that always gets debated, like which is better, specifically Minneapolis. So I'm partial to Manny's, but so yeah, so I'll say Manny's. Samson Romaine, Geno Atkins to Minnesota one time would be sexy. Tristan Bailey, February is by far the worst month for sports. It is a little sparse. Yeah, you got regular season NBA, which is like, well, basketball still going on, except, I mean, so the COVID restrictions on basketball have been super hardcore. Like, I didn't know that Michigan hadn't played in 23 days. But yeah, hockey before the playoffs is whatever. I think that that fan-controlled football league, it has a shot. It was pretty exciting. Johnny Football. Nick Young, trade up or trade down? Trade down. Jacob, Corona or Miller? Probably Corona. Yeah. That it? Yep, that's it. All right, so that is it for the Daily Jeromes live stream for Monday. You guys are the best. Subscribe for Daily Vikings Takes. Come along for a good time. We'll talk to you tomorrow.